Hey everybody, it's Carlos from Immortals Inc. podcast here, and I'm talking with Mikey.
Yes, we're
today,
talking.
And today we're going to talk a little. You love LARP, don't you?
I do.
LARP, live action role play.
Yeah, I do it all day, every day.
I said would never rear its ugly head here at Immortals Inc.
Why though? Why did you feel that way for so long?
Well, there was a lot went on before that.
Isn't there legitimate history behind it?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of scary stuff that goes on, and we're going to talk about it. All right, all kidding aside, live action role play,
AKA LARP.
yeah, it's kind of like acting. You ever see the guys that run around? What's that movie with them?
Isn't it Role Models?
Role Models, yes. Okay, that's when people say LARPing or live action. That's what they think of as that movie.
Yes,
where they go around. And there's
one
a lot
of my
of
favorite
other
movies of all time.
Yeah, there's a lot of other movies that do that, and then I think they confuse it with the actual historical. You ever see those guys in the armor that fight? No, that's rough, right?
Yeah,
that's like a real athletic thing, right? Those guys that fight in the armor. That's totally different from LARPing. LARPing when I was younger or new to this, or when Vampire came out, like I play the Vampire tabletop, which is just a role playing game with Vampire, and it's a lot of it's political and you talk to people, and there's some combat, but it wasn't a lot. Well, then you get to the LARP version. That's where you get a bunch of weird. I don't want to say weirdos because that really puts everybody
Get
off.
a bunch of weirdos.
Sometimes you got people that can't understand, and that's what I was afraid of. Because sometimes you get people who don't understand, like it's a game, or they'll come in a little too hot and be like, "Oh yeah, this is my character," and then they won't leave it. So then you're just trying to have, "Hey, you want a Diet Coke or something?" And they're like, "Vlad does not want to." Stop. All right.
Diet Coke does not exist in this realm, mortal.
You're creeping out the normies. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a lot of people with possible problems, that come in and sometimes get a little blur about reality. Or they escape a little too much, which is fine if that's what you're doing, like on your own and somewhere else and whatever. That's totally different. But you can come in and God bless Amanda, because she keeps them under control.
Shout out Amanda, Our Lady of Darkness.
This is where this is going with this,
yes.
Because I didn't think it would. But she was very into the LARP. She wanted to bring the LARP, and I was like, no LARP.
She actually ran I think a decade or so more longer the LARP at a college for a long time. Yeah, she's experienced at it. Well, they had a LARP event here, and I was like holding my breath, going, "All right, let me see how this goes." No, it was fine. They were fine. They came in, they were dressed, and we did a little short about it. And they were dressed, but not over the top, and no,
enough, just enough, and it's an event, so And now it's a little more socially acceptable to like, hey, I'm going to go, we're going to do this dinner theater, it's LARP or whatever. You dressed up for the day or whatever, and people understand, like, oh, they're doing something. Back and 20, 30 years ago, you're like, nope.
And it's a legitimate product line now, as Vampire the Masquerade released their LARP books.
It always has been. And you know where I get funny? Because they have LARP Cthulhu.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh, man, I could probably do that. Because it's like 1920s with the suits, and the proper look, and hey, excuse me, I'm like, okay, I could probably get into that. But
Pre-prohibition music.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But like I could. But you see where it's more mainstream, and then when they do it on the, they do it on the TV or the web or whatever, they have shows about it, so it's like people understand it. So it's like it's not so rough, because like back then it was like you just stop being weird, You ever see that meme like fireball, and a guy's throwing like tennis balls at somebody, or just being weird, It's like stop it, guys, come on, or they'll get into it. And to them, and then a lot of people, to them, that was like the only thing I could describe it as like a sport. The guys get into too much into sports, or they overly aggressive playing pickleball and kick a guy in the head.
Yeah,
I just saw that video.
Like
the
you
other
shouldn't
day.
be using your feet at all.
And pickleball. But like the overactive. Well, you get that too with the LARPers, because to them that's and they would get a little much. And
it's like WWE wrestlers getting too into character.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. But I don't want it. You know, I didn't want it, but you know, you guys convinced me they got it, and I'm like, okay, it's cool. Which brings us to how it got into this is we have a website called clevelandbynight.com, and it's part of the world. It's not part of the World of Darkness, but it's based on the World of Darkness.
Yeah.
So in the World of Darkness with Vampire Hunter and Werewolf, they have that is collectively known as the World of Darkness. That's role playing in those worlds. Like you play Werewolf in one, which are like kind of like saving the world, eco guys, and vampires, which are vampires.
Yep.
And then you have the hunters, which are the guys who go after all the supernatural creatures, the evil ones anyway, which vampires and some werewolves and all that good nonsense. But they would have like different books or whatever areas, Chicago by Night, Seattle
which we talked
by
about
night.
on here.
Yeah, like Amanda does a good job, so I'm not going to come over that. But it's like there was never a Cleveland by Night. You know, I'm like, well, why is there nothing here? So I'm like, And Cleveland used to have like a kind of a weird, not a weird, I keep using the word weird, and I'm sorry. I apologize.
It was weird. Amanda explained to me there was a Cleveland by Night, and it got weird.
Yeah, there was a guy, and I think it was on West 25th, and he owned a house. There was a whole house. They had the house, and they would go there and play vampire, and then, you know, how you just see where it's going to go down a wrong road. I might, you know what, I'm going to do a history of that and talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I know of it, and I know about it, but I can't pull it from my memory right now.
No, Amanda explained to me what went on.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll have to do a video about it. We'll leave Amanda out so she doesn't get involved.
Very weird stuff.
I'll have to look. I'll have to look into my end of what I would know. You know, like what I could find out
I'm
about.
sure you could find some information
there's
about
some
it.
Juice in there. But yeah, so you had that problem. So that wasn't exactly what would you call mainstream or wholesome or something you could market it very good. You know,
something you could back.
Yeah, no, something I couldn't back. You know, that's what I was worried about too. Because if you think about it, like they always have like Seattle.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with Seattle. Well,
I think
there's a lot wrong with Seattle. I mean, no, I'm kidding. But Seattle's special, but it's also not as old as Cleveland. Cleveland's an old city, like a couple hundred years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like Boston, and you know, you have these old cities like Boston. I don't even think there is a Boston by Night. But you know, if you think about it, you're always the vampires came over in the Europe, like even you know, the Dracula era.
I mean, the Rust Belt. It's just like this whole Rust Belt has a
it's
huge
not.
history.
It's just a point. It's like one of the oldest cities. One of the older cities.
Yeah, between us, Pittsburgh, and
I mean, when you started walking across, you know, going across, it's there. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't it have a background of, you know, you could easily insert. I mean, there's so much here to insert into the World of Darkness, like old vampires here and everything like that.
Yep.
They always have them in. I keep picking on Seattle or California or whatever, even Chicago. It's like, okay, still older, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you could have all that here. And I'm like, I'm surprised it wasn't here, especially since we're a major city from the nexus of like, you know, Wisconsin, you know, Milwaukee, you know, with you know, Madison, where all that, the role playing started, you know, and, you know, we have, you know, all the conventions are, you know, Indianapolis, Columbus, New York, there's some in Pennsylvania now, and we're just all around us, you know. So it's like, okay, why wouldn't we have a vampire? And I just kind of like, we bought the, you know, nobody owned it, so I grabbed it, had it for a few years, and now that we're starting to pick it up, and I was mildly, Amanda does a lot of work on that, so we all.
She actually revitalized the whole thing.
Yeah, we had it. We tried a couple different versions, and I'm like, I don't know. We just needed somebody, but Amanda's really into it, and
she legit took it over.
Yeah, she got a whole
rebuilt
crew.
the whole website.
So if you're interested in anything that's vampire or that World of Darkness related, go to clevelandbynight.com.
Yeah,
and I think she's about to release either after or before this. We're going to release her first, like one of her first sessions.
Yes.
And there's a lot of updated information there, and she's actually building the Cleveland area world. So.
Yeah, she's doing sessions in our Rusty Dragon Inn, which is our rentable room. She's grabbing a few of her friends and doing a couple of recorded just sessions, and she doesn't just do LARP. And there might be a misconception from who's watching. She does not only tabletop, just the role playing VTM, but she also does the LARP. I think LARP's only like once every month or so, or once every other month.
You know, it's more of a production.
It's one like sanctioned event.
Much,
yeah, it takes
it's not
a lot.
so much, and it's just it's a lot. But now we have we have live action role play. We have tabletop versions. We have a pretty, it made me laugh is that they were playing Vampire one night, and the Rusty Dragon Inn, which is our private room you can rent. A group of guys rented that, and I didn't know they were playing Werewolf, which is part of the World of Darkness. And I was talking to them, then I was talking to, I think, Amanda, and I'm like, hey, did you guys get those werewolf guys? And they're like, what werewolf guys? I said, oh, no. And remember I came in, I
track
said,
them down.
Yeah, I go, don't let the vampire, they didn't know about each other. And I'm like, that made me laugh. I'm like, oh, don't let them mix, let them find out about it. So she reached out to those guys. So now I think they're a little in the mix, or
they got roped in.
Yeah, they got roped in. So we accidentally had the vampire and a werewolf game going on in the same place, unknown to each other.
Yeah, about to be.
You almost had your little
biting necks.
You had almost your little what we do in the shadows night.
That's funny.
So, but I just want to say, and by the way, I just want to say we're also not. There's also a by night group which does like a lot of World of Darkness stuff. We're not associated with that. All right. So this is just cleanbynight.com, and it uses all the World of Darkness rules. It's all theirs. It's their rights. And
all the information's on the website, and I'll put that right below in the description. If anybody does want to reach out, either somebody within those studios or whatnot to get more information, contact Amanda. Her stuff's down there. Our stuff's down there. If anybody wants to come on the podcast and talk about it, that's for sure a possibility.
And also, while we're thinking about that vampire card game, oh God, they're gonna kill me. VTM, Vampire the Masquerade. What's the card game?
The Eternal Struggle.
Yes, Vampire the Eternal Struggle. There is still a strong following for that, and I deal directly with those guys.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reorder from those guys pretty soon. We're almost out, but I'd like to see. That's another good card game too. I'd like to see, because we had a group here that came and played regularly, and I think they just fell apart or moved on or whatever they did. But if there's that group out there or somebody that plays that game regularly, hey, we'd like to rope you into this little mess over here, especially if you're from the Cleveland area. So
yeah, we got free play space, rentable room.
Yeah.
Amanda might coerce you to jump into tabletop.
Yeah, I deal direct with the guys from Vampire the Eternal Struggle, and I can get whatever they got, and it's just a good card game. So we'd like to see that all happening, because we have a pretty strong D&D community. We have a strong a lot of alternative fantasy and sci-fi games. We have this pretty good vampire going. We're just building these communities, so we'd like to see it. And if you want to be part of it or want to learn more about it, go ahead, stop by. Go to immortalsinc.com. The links are in there. Or
clevelandbynight.com.
Go to all those. And anything else you want to say about it?
No. Like, subscribe, join. If you join, that gets exclusive members, including the Cleveland by Night stuff that you don't even get to see unless you're a member.
Yeah, and on that note, we notice a lot of people watch our videos, but a lot of people, it's a small percentage there's a much larger percentage that doesn't subscribe, that watches the videos, that do. Give us a subscribe. It helps us.
It would help us. It would help us a lot. Obviously, don't feel obligated, but you should absolutely, truly feel obligated. No, but if you just one click means a lot. So we'll see you guys next time.